to be on the marsh and watch the world wake up. That special moment and the change in the movement habits of wildlife.
Shooting blue wing and waterfowl is probably the most exciting. A lot of times they start high in the air, sound like a fighter jet. And when they get in the decoy spread, they're whiffling in.
And seeing how all of that ties together, that's still something that I think really grabs every single hunter and fisherman I know.
Get 'em.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Hello again and welcome to Ducks Unlimited TV. I'm Ashley Horvitz. This week we are back at Spread Oaks Ranch continuing a great early season teal hunt and enjoying wonderful southern hospitality. DUTV co-host Fed Zink is joined there by Ducks Unlimited CEO Adam Putnam and Ducks Unlimited de Mexico President Bill Ansell, among others, for a great time on the heels of a tropical storm. The weather cooperated just right and the teal were there by the thousands. All this and more next on DUTV.
You know, like so many people, I was introduced into hunting by my older brothers and by my dad. We're in the cattle business in Central Florida, so being outdoors, coming from an agricultural family, being connected to nature was very much a part of our livelihood and our family.
So the first morning setup, we found ourselves a shallow pond, shallow lake, 0 grade. Quite a large water, it's like about a 60-acre body of water. And beta just came through the day before. We knew it was gonna be special. To be there and just watch the tornadoes of teal, it's just like balls of blue-winged teal just circling the marsh.
Look at that cloud.
Coming through the decoys, landing in the decoys, the anticipation. It's something special about first few hunts of the year. Here's pair wrap hunt. To see that fall migration start, it's almost kind of like a waterfall. It's the first part of what you know is coming. Go ahead and shoot those two.
There we go. 2 down.
Oh, there you go.
I was a member of Ducks Unlimited before I was a duck hunter. You know, I was a tree stand hunter or shooting wild hogs or Osceola turkeys, but I begged to be able to go to our local Bartow Mulberry chapter of DU with my older brothers. And when I was 16, I was finally allowed to go with them. And it was like a rite of passage. And there are a lot of folks who are part of DU and believe in the conservation mission and invest in the conservation mission, who maybe aren't duck hunters anymore or never have been.
Right side. Go ahead.
But they get what we're doing is continental in nature. You know, standing on the shoulders of the giants of the conservation movement who built and created and have evolved Ducks Unlimited over the last 83 years is a little intimidating. It's certainly humbling.
How long have you been with DU?
You know, this is my 2nd season with Ducks Unlimited. And of course, COVID changed everything,
Oh, yeah.
But my goodness, to see how our volunteers and our members have responded and then to get back out here on the water and see that regardless of what's going on in our lives, football season, disrupted school, it doesn't matter. The birds are here.
Yeah, the birds are here.
And that great migration is occurring right now.
Yeah, yeah. And there's gonna be, there's gonna be so many people in the field this fall because there's not a lot to do. You know, we've seen it during turkey season early in the year. We've seen it during fishing season. I'm sure this fall there's gonna be a tremendous amount of people spending their time outdoors, you know.
When you
Great
look
time
at
to
the
introduce
silver linings of this, people getting outdoors,
family.
being aware of their surroundings, observing the birds, observing nature, seeing the ducks, it's going to be one of the things we look back on as a positive. And my challenge, and today's team's challenge, and today's volunteers' challenge is how do we take it to the next level?
Get them, boys.
How do we adapt to meet the challenges of today? How do we get through COVID and come out stronger and leaner and meaner and smarter than we were before? And most importantly, how do we keep the focus on the mission? To be on that team is just the honor of a lifetime.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Habitat, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited. Browning Firearms, the best there is. Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation, that's Higdon. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. And Ducks Unlimited celebrates 15 million acres conserved.
So if you look at spread oaks and what they're able to do here, 4,800 acres, 60 managed ponds for waterfowl, they're able to create habitat in an area that used to be abundance with rice.
Before the settlers came in and started planting rice, the blue wings came through the state and they were found in the freshwater marshes. But then when rice farming became a major land use activity, the blue wings took advantage because the blue wing fall flight appeared in coastal Texas and Louisiana just as the rice farmers were through harvesting. And so we went through many, many years of abundance of rice production, and now we're looking at a severe reduction. With the reduction in rice, there are just fewer and fewer places to feed.
Get them, boys. And even where there is flooded rice right now, simply because of the equipment is so much better than it used to be, combines, the amount of rice left in the field for these migrating waterfowl is simply gone. So they're able to take these type of areas and convert them back to what used to be here before the rice. But it goes to show you, if you build it, they'll come, you know what I mean? What a layout they have here.
Well, they've really put a lot of thought into how they've engineered these fields, and it's just terrific habitat. They're doing it right, they're doing it for the long term, and the clouds of birds show it.
Oh, there were clouds. Still coming. I guarantee you later in the year, the pintails, when they get down here, I bet it's unreal.
Yeah.
Right in, single. Right in the hole. Right side. Get them, boys. It's almost like a full circle cycle. Prior to rice, this was what it was like. Rice came here, ducks still came here, rice left. People like spread oaks, able to come back in here and turn this area back into what it used to be.
And so when you see a landowner like Spread Oaks that's investing so much, they're not thinking about just cranking out as many ducks as they possibly can for the short term. This is a sustainable business model.
They're very, very conservative. When we shot the first morning, we had a 30-minute window and we had to get out. It allows the birds to come in here and naturally rest. And it's very, very beneficial, and it's what really conservation is all about, leaving more than what you took.
And they're making the extra investment in the long-term improvements to this property. They're also growing crops. They're also raising livestock. So it becomes a model to also show off how duck habitat, agricultural crops, and livestock can all be managed on the same piece of property in a way that's good for the bottom line and good for conservation. Many of the most productive waterfowl habitats are natural. They contain wetland grasses and other plants that are essential to producing the seeds with a high nutritional value and that also support the protein-rich invertebrate communities that are so important as waterfowl foods. Around the Gulf Coast, both private landowners and public land managers cultivate moist soil habitat for waterfowl use. Sound management practices are needed to maximize that habitat's potential. Timely water drainage, burning or disking the soil to disturb that seed bank and eliminate undesirable plants are key elements of that management process. In Mexico, DU is actively involved in habitat restoration in the natural mangrove swamps, a prime wintering area for North America's blue-winged teal. For example, Ducks Unlimited de Mexico restored 20,000 acres of this natural hydrology on Isla Arena after road construction had impounded this enormous lagoon. DUMAC placed culverts throughout the roads, effectively restoring the salt and freshwater exchange from the Gulf and allowing that vegetation to flourish once again. To find out how you can help Ducks Unlimited restore wetlands throughout North America, please go to ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com.
The good Lord made this earth, and it was very friendly towards migratory birds, and man has come in and reduced the total acres that are available to birds.
You know, we really kind of rent the land while we're here, and we need to be good stewards of it. And Ducks Unlimited is probably the best steward in the world at taking care of what we are lucky enough to rent.
For waterfowl in Texas, the state is 95, 96% privately owned. Where we are here at Spread Oaks, there's no public land from here, up into what we call the rice prairies of Texas. That's all privately held land. Because there's so much private land, it's really important and necessary to work with private landowners if we are going to affect waterfowl habitat at the landscape scale.
And so I think that DU working with the private landowners is going to be the only way that we can preserve these really important acreages.
And if you look at the management style here, everything is plush. And what I mean by plush is the wetlands are choke full of natural vegetation that these teal crave during fall migration and wintering grounds before they go across the border down into Mexico.
If you're a landowner, you have this, well, do I put a lot of effort into managing for blue-winged teal when they're only going to be here a brief period of time? And
Out on the right, coming in, here we go. So the unique thing about places right here like Spread Oaks and many places like this is the ability to manage. When you look at a place like this and you're from the outside, you're like, wow, it's a private hunting club and it's all good, but it's not public hunting like I hunt. But you gotta understand that these teal come down here in winter here. A place like this has a tremendous budget, many times larger than most state or federal refuges.
if you're managing for moist soil, or say some of the larger coastal impoundments on some of the state and federal refuges, then you do have to wonder, am I going to draw down these units? When am I going to reflood them? If individuals put water on specifically for teal, that water's probably gone by mid to late October. They've got to repump and reflood, and all that's added cost.
So when you take an operation like Spread Oaks, they're able to intensely manage these areas and create a tremendous amount of food at the touch of a button.
But that same habitat that attracts and draws birds, or waterfowl specifically in this case, those birds then disperse to other private lands, or they disperse to the public lands, right?
And let's just face it, a teal has there's no fences for migratory waterfowl. They simply migrate to areas that are beneficial to them. And anything that's beneficial to waterfowl is beneficial to the waterfowl hunter.
Every experienced teal hunter knows it's a fast and furious game. These birds come in groups, they come in low, they come in fast, and you're gonna drop several birds. 2 or 3 may fall short, but it's that long sailor, the wounded one that falls, that we have got to get that bird first. But what about your dog? He's concentrated on the short birds. Let Guy Cameron from Wild Rose, Texas, who's an avid teal hunter, show you how to train for this. Notice where we're on the ground first. Get it right on land before going to the water. It's called a trailing memory. There's a long memory out into that cover, the Milo. That's the bird we want first. The dog is turned around, settled, as 2 other teal fall short. Our dog Otto is going to ignore those short teal out front and go for the long bird. Otto goes down the middle. These drills can be set up with 3 marks, but the memory helps steady the dog because you've got a delayed action. Otto ignores the shorter bumpers. If he were to switch, try to go for the shorter bumpers, Guy Cameron would simply walk forward, widening the angle. The dog tends to ignore those and goes for his memory. The Wild Rose law when picking birds is the longest bird to the closest, the oldest bird down to the most recent. It's about game recovery, bringing back birds that would otherwise be lost.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. DUTV is powered by Zink Calls, a champion in every call. Browning Ammunition, the best there is. Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. Tetra Hearing, more than hearing protection, it's hearing perfection. Closed captioning for Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
Hi, I'm Fed Zink with Zink Calls. I want to talk to you about the positioning of the tone channel in your duck call. Now, depending on the duck call, and we'll take this apart, do you want it the read up or do you want the read down? Now, some duck calls sound differently when you put it to your lips. So if you put it like this or you put it like this, some duck calls will change the pitch or tone. So you got to make sure that you get that figured out. But one helpful tip, and what this is about, is if you produce a lot of saliva and you have trouble with your call sticking, if you position the reed instead of like this, if you position the reed like this, a lot of your saliva, if you think about it, will go down the bottom of your duck call, will be laying down here. If you put it in like this, as you blow, it blows it up into the reed system and you'll have more trouble. So you got to kind of mess with that, but it really will help you have a duck call that doesn't stick as much. For more information on Zink Calls, check us out online at zinkcalls.com.
Duck Talk with Fred Zink, powered by Zink Calls, a champion in every call.
You know, coming up through the grassroots system of DU as a rank and file member, I saw the volunteers, I knew our local committee who worked hard to make things happen, but until I had some time in the driver's seat of where I am now in Ducks Unlimited, I did not fully appreciate that the secret sauce to DU is our volunteers, in good times and in hard times. And we've seen some hard times in the last few months. I've seen our volunteers whose own businesses were disrupted, whose own kids were trying to do school from the kitchen table, whose own lives were turned upside down, still find time to make the transition for Ducks Unlimited to migrate our events online and find new ways to keep that furnace burning.
When they travel, they pay their own bills. You know, people don't really understand that, I think, how much money and time the volunteers of Ducks Unlimited and DUMAC spend for us to be able to go out and enjoy the outdoors and see these beautiful birds that we get the pleasure to hunt.
Cut them. That's what I mean.
It's raining birds, baby.
Yeah. Really good shot, Adam.
Thank you. That's a blind squirrel finding a nut right there.
I see it with my own eyes. Lowered the boom on one at about 35 or 40.
Put the A5 hammer on him. I really tip my hat to Spread Oaks and the team they're focused on the long term here.
Every day that we left, you could look back as we're driving
Go
away in a
ahead.
four-wheeler and look back and see hundreds of blue-winged teal going right into the place we just left. I always say when you leave and you look back, if they're still coming, you're doing your job.
And the habitat that they're creating, the food that they've got out here, it's benefiting hunters and clubs a long way away from the fence line of this property. I mean, this is really a perfect example of where they're being selfless instead of selfish in how they approach the management of this land and of these resources. And so, it's not just about the killing, it's not just about how fast you can limit out. It really is about how do we bring back the glory of the Texas teal season by getting the habitat right.
What a show the teal put on in Texas. This early teal season was one of the best in years. Thanks in part to all the hard work Ducks Unlimited has done in the Prairie Pothole region's breeding grounds, and Ducks Unlimited de Mexico has achieved in the lush teal wintering grounds south of the border. Moving forward, Ducks Unlimited will continue working hard to ensure teal and other ducks are healthy and thriving. Thanks again to the wonderful staff at Spread Oaks Ranch, and your hospitality and habitat are both truly amazing. Thanks for watching, and please join us next time for more exciting action on DUTV.